welcome back to my channel. It is Christian here, and you're tuned in for more of my 2 cents. Yes, indeed. Let's get into it. I have to start the video off with our first by stating our disclaimers for it all. Come on now, little Nat, you're being disrespectful. I don't like that. Let me get Harathe, because Harathe will eat the gnats, okay? This is Harathe, evangelist, prophetess, designate, elect, whatever the names are this week. Harathe gonna take care of the next. No, but I like to start each video with 3 points. 1, you are not alone. 2, you are not crazy. 3, God still loves you, okay? If you can believe those things while we are having this discussion, then we should be okay, all right? Because, I mean, that shows I don't have any malice in my heart, right? I'm telling you it's okay. You're not, I'm here with you. I'm here for you, with you. We're growing together. Now, let me tell you guys. So, in interest of full disclosure, which I like to operate in, I am all here for the truth. I love telling the truth. I don't like to lie. I don't anymore. And and y'all probably like, what? Anymore? And I mean, before we get into the video, I got to tell y'all a little background about me, because I like to share as we grow. Growing up, I did have a lying problem. I ain't gonna call it a lying spirit. I had a lying problem and an eye rolling problem. I would roll my eyes at you in a minute. I got in trouble so much growing up for these 2 things, okay? They were mutually exclusive. But I like to fabricate truth to get my way, all right? And that was something that I did as a child. I don't do it now. I don't practice that now. But it was for small things as a kid, you know, to go where I wanted to go, to be around people I wanted to be around, friends, you know, like, Mom, no, after the game we're going here, but we were really going somewhere else, you know? Like, want to say it was the norm. Like, I'm not one of those people that like to blow things off like everybody was doing it. It ain't a problem. No, it was a problem for me. And I really did have to grow out of that phase in life of just thinking that everything required to pretty much be dishonest, or there to be layers to why I was doing things with ulterior motives. Like, even though that was in my childhood, that quality and characteristic could have flown over into adulthood, which ultimately would make me a trash individual. And so I tell my husband often, like, honey, that is circa 2001, because your girl was a mess in the 6th grade, in the 5th grade. Because I remember we couldn't wear pants growing up for whatever purpose, Pentecostal, right? Holiness. We couldn't wear pants growing up. And my aunt knew that we were having a Halloween party. Me and my cousin were in the same grade. And she did stop me by the Walgreens, honey, by the local Walgreens one morning. And she allowed me to take $20 into Walgreens and pick out a costume for the class party, the class Halloween party. And I was so excited, y'all. I was so happy. And so when we actually did that and enjoyed it, my mom somehow ended up asking me about costumes. Like, did everybody in the class have one on? And was I the only one without one? And I lied. You know, I told her that I was the only one without a costume on. Which would have been true had I not stopped by Walgreens with her sister to get me one. And so it's things like that that I lied about because, you know, I was a kid and I didn't have access to certain things because of our religion and our belief system. And there are some things that I do not believe children should have withheld from them because of belief systems. And I understand that a lot of holidays are pagan, you know, according to some people's beliefs. And there are some things that children just don't grasp at the time when they're being raised. And you have to really know that what you're imposing on children sometimes has the capacity to traumatize children. There are stories that I have and that my siblings have of memories of things that we couldn't do or things we got in trouble for because of our beliefs, but we were just kids. And I don't think that a lot of Christian parents or any organized religion, right, adults or parents grasp that you're taking away certain freedoms and liberties from your children because of what you believe in, what you've picked. Can you imagine your boss or a significant other or someone else in authority or leadership doing something to you based off of what they believe is acceptable? This happens all the time with predators, right? Child predators and, you know, people who are criminals. They believe that certain things are okay to do. And so they impose those beliefs on other people who don't deserve it. And I hate to put it in that category, but that's the only way that I can break it down where it's somewhat palatable and understandable. It's the same offenses towards a person's ability to choose. And that's why in a video a couple of days ago, it was titled, Do We Really Have Free Will? And that was from the aspect of God and the creator giving free will. Now I'm talking in the form of adults and parents and your leaders, right? Who often infringe upon your ability to choose for self in every arena. In every arena. We were not raised with free choice. We couldn't speak when we wanted to. We couldn't express our feelings. All of that had to be shut down and taken from us so that what people actually wanted us to believe and behave as was actually implemented and was actually projected onto us. That's how you can have children that once they leave the house, people are like, oh, they left and went wild. No, they left and became themselves. Whew! This video wasn't even supposed to be about this, but I'm flowing. Like, I locked my phone for my notes for what I was supposed to be recording, and this is actually what's coming through, honey. Somebody needs to hear this. The very things, especially in Black households with Christian beliefs and holiness backgrounds, everything is looked at as a sin. And what it starts to do is it doesn't allow the parents to parent in their households based off of what their children needs, but it starts to be taken over. And that nurturing and you being connected to your children to see what their weaknesses or their strengths are, or where they're missing some things and may need more attention or, love or affection in certain areas, you start to disconnect from that part that innately in you as a parent, you would notice. You start just pushing other things on them, right? Like, no, you can't go here. You can't do that. I don't know what's wrong with you. This ain't nothing but the enemy in you. This ain't nothing but Satan. This ain't nothing but the devil. Whatever. The devil trying to take you down and, expose you to these things and mess your life up. Why can't I just be a teenager, hormones off the chain, going through some things? Why can't we just have a real life-on-life conversation and dialogue as mother and son, mother and daughter, father and son, father and daughter? That element of reality is often removed from families who have holiness backgrounds or Christian or any organized religion belief system. It's almost like the parent has given up their identity for their beliefs. And so that is what you're expected to do. And they handle you according to the scripture text. They don't handle you based on mother instinct, on father instinct, on experience and where you are in that season of your life. And what it does is it causes a lot of adults who have decided to detach themselves from church to want to detach based off of what they saw from their parents. Not the hypocritical side of it, but the lack of love, the lack of compassion, which you all say the church is full of. But these parents at home are going home and they're not showing love and compassion to their children, or the seasons of life that they're in, or the different stages that they're going through, trying to understand and believe. They're being browbeaten by the Bible, by principles that they don't really understand. I sat in Sunday school my entire young life, not understanding what I was being taught. I heard the stories. We've all heard the stories and saw the colorful pages in Sunday school lessons about Noah's Ark and Jonah and the whale. We've all heard those stories, which are somewhat fairy tales. Like, the Bible has stories just like Disney. Do what y'all want to do with that information. That's what it felt like to me as a kid. Just as I was sitting and watching Snow White and Cinderella, right? That had messages to the storyline. The church in the Bible has the same values. There are principles and stories for you to take what applies to you to encourage you, to give you strength and wisdom on how to deal with things, jealousy, right? You have the Technicolor Dreamcoat. You have the brothers who are jealous, who literally steal their brother's coat. They were jealous of his dreams. And Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat, and threw this baby into a pit, and then was like, nah, we gonna sell him. Then they sold him into slavery, only for him to turn around and become the king, the ruler over them. And he made it right with them. These are stories that teach values and principles, but instead of them only teaching those principles, they're then turned on us. Those stories are turning us not for encouragement in life, but as the ruler in which we're determined to either be living a sinful life or a good life. Those things are not used as proverbs or information to say, hey, you're not the only one that's going to go through jealousy. You're not the only ones that may have someone who envies you or wants what the gift that you have or the skill. None of these things were used to empower us in life. They were just handed to us and we just had to believe them. But there were no actual principles taught outside of that. I don't remember any Sunday school teacher expounding upon the takeaway elements in those stories. Like, I can tell you right now, that's what I would take away from Joseph in his dreams, in the Technicolor Dreamcoat with his brothers who envied his gift. His father loved all of his sons, but they didn't like that he had a gift that they didn't operate in. While they may have done great things, they didn't do what Joseph did. And they saw his ability and it made them angry with jealousy. That's going to happen in your life somewhere, baby girl, right? That's how the parents could have implemented that. But instead it was just force fed. Get this while I'm in the main sanctuary, get mine, right? Nothing was ever discussed. These values and principles were not actually embedded in us for beneficial reasons. When your religion or your belief system doesn't actually benefit you, you need to check your benefits package. If any employer tells you that you get benefits after 60 days and you get your package and it literally says you get a Band-Aid and a cup of water and some crackers, that's not benefiting you. You want more from that. You wouldn't stay there to keep getting only those benefits while you're doing so much. Salvation requires your life, according to Christians. Give me my benefits. Share something with me that actually strengthens me as an individual that I can actually use beyond what you're telling me at church. How can I apply this into my life on an ongoing basis, or the values that will help to create the fabric of who I am? We weren't given that. And so as parents, we have to understand, we have to get that what we choose is not what we should impose on our children. Instead, we should weave those beliefs into how we are raising or how we are molding the minds of the people who will then one day grow up and choose their own beliefs. But you can help to impart valuable information now. They're not wrong for not wanting to believe what you do. They actually don't have any foundational principle or value to actually choose that. They don't have any reason to choose it. So that's why it's shocking to some people when they say, oh, she was raised in a good house. Her mama taught her better than that. People probably feel like that about me. I don't care, because I grew up and I'm now able to choose for self. I'm able to choose for self from my own experiences. None of what I've decided to do is because of anything that happened with my mother, my household, our church back home, or anything. Has to do with what Christian chose. It's Christian's experience as an adult herself. What have I witnessed from me, for me? And once we realize that, once people form that, it's okay. You cannot expect people to have one car all their lives and then give it to you and it still work for you the same way it worked for them. That's not fair, right? If I took a 60-something-year-old car that my mother had, not 60 because she would have had to have it from zero, child. Let's say from 18, if I had a car that my mother had from 18 years old, it's not going to work for me no more like that, baby. Baby, it ain't going to work for me like that. There's been so many advancements in the world, in life, in technology, in education, in the finance system, in the finance industry, in the production industry, manufacturing. All of these other places and industries and sectors get to evolve, yet religion is the only one that we just have to keep on having, like our great-grandma and our great-great ancestors and parents. No, there needs to be some evolution on how we believe, what we believe, who we allow to teach us and influence our beliefs, right? And who we share this information and dialogue with. If there's no strength in us being able to have differing perspectives, then we're weak in our beliefs from the beginning, because nothing should make you shut down everybody because it doesn't sound like what you are familiar with or what you want it to be and sound like. That's not fair to the evolution in the understanding, the ever-growing, evolving mind. Your mind expands every day because there's new information received every day. You don't learn the same thing every day. You just don't. With life comes its many challenges, but comes its many lessons. And if you choose to learn from each lesson, In that you may receive blessings of all kind, resources that will help you in another part of your life, on another day, in another situation, right? So that is what we have to be open to, and not so much as just pushing our narrative and our belief, but understanding that the people we're raising now or the people we've raised in the past, some parents need to go back to their children and apologize. Like, I'm sorry for not explaining this to you better. I didn't know more. I didn't have what I needed to actually give you what you needed. I'm sorry I didn't allow you to choose certain things or express yourself. I'm sorry I did impose my spiritual beliefs into my household training of you, into my raising of you. I'm sorry I did that. I'm sorry you felt like you didn't have freedom to talk to me about growing up and what may have been going on in your life, because I shut it down with the blood of Jesus, right? Or I shut it down with that ain't number Satan talking. All of this has hurt a lot of adults now. So trauma is real. There are trauma bonds and connections with some people for church. Some people stay in it because that's all they know. So the example of the car, your religion was put on me when I was a kid. Now I'm older and I'm choosing I don't want that anymore. You can't get upset at me for that. You can't be upset with me because I no longer want the religion you gave to me as a kid. I don't still have any toys from my childhood. What if I don't want your religion anymore? What if I don't want your beliefs anymore? What if I want to evolve on those beliefs? Or I'm going to do more research to learn more than you did about those beliefs? What if I keep some and I let go of others that don't serve me, that don't make me feel good, right? What if I don't want to live in bondage to my belief in my God? You do. You might want to. You may want to live under the guise of being cursed for not giving, but I don't. So I freely give. Instead of giving a fear, I give in freedom. I give with the thought of abundance instead of lack. I don't give because I'm expecting something back. I give because I'm excited that I have more that I can live from. Beliefs are everything, but they start somewhere. So whether or not you think that the religion or belief that you chose is good for you, you don't have the right to force it onto the people you brought into this world. By all means, share the values, right? Share the stories, if you will, that can relate to their everyday walk. Children only know they only learn what they live. And if the life is hard and is stressful and struggle and anxiety, and you so-called are a believer and a Christian, that doesn't resonate and transfer well for them, because they're going to live under that same anxiety and stress and pressure and start believing that the struggle is attached to salvation. Instead of freedom and joy and peace and love and kindness and compassion. The same characteristics you want people to come to church for needs to be the same characteristics and the same energy that you operate in your own home. That's all I'm saying, right? So let's do away with the toxic thought process of this is what I know, this is what I believe, this is what I choose, and this is, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Not a problem. But that mindset has caused more people to decide not to serve the Lord than to actually sign up for it. And that is where you're as ineffective as any other religion could ever be. Christianity has to be one of the most intolerant religions I know. And I ain't studied that many. But it's very intolerant of people having other opinions. Their way is the only way, and it literally says that. There's no other way to get to the Father but through, right? Accepting Him as your Savior. You have to do that first. You have to make that confession of Christ first, or nothing else you do in life matters. You're condemned to hell until you accept. Just as that's your belief, other religions have theirs. So if one is going to dominate, at least allow the ones you're raising and the lives you're attempting to save has a choice. The choice does not start with you. I wish somebody would have had this conversation with my mom, and with, I'm sure other people wish the same thing. Don't allow your religion and your beliefs to actually determine how you run your household, how you communicate and nurture your children and your offspring. Grace is sufficient for everybody, including those who have never heard that which you believe. Okay? So we all have work to do. We all have a mission and a purpose here. And conversations now that we're more comfortable, and by we, I mean millennials, are more comfortable having comes from a place of really wanting to understand and not project and not assume that people should know better and do better. But it's just really being able to say, let's talk about this. It's not wrong to discuss. That's usually the problem. People don't discuss. They just demand you to believe what they do. And if they don't want to have anything to do with you. That's very unsafe. And that really does stunt growth. And it stunts the ability for people to connect on a deeper level and say, I agree to disagree. I've learned something new about you today, but I still love you the same. That's possible, people. Okay? Okay. All right. So the video flowed, y'all. I did not have notes for any of this. I didn't have any main points, but I wanted to speak to that because I know how I was raised and the things that I did growing up. And I started the story, by sharing something about me that I struggled with, if you will, as a child, but I grew out of that. And now that I'm a mother, I can see certain qualities in my 4 and 7-year-old that I can guide based off of values and principles that I have, be it faith-based or, God-focused or just everyday life-on-life experience. That's like, no, baby, let me lead you in a different direction, right? Everything ain't the enemy. Everything ain't Satan trying to ruin your life or come in and kill you off or whatever. Some things just are basic principles that even if I didn't believe in God, right, I still would be able to share some truth and wisdom on how my children, right, who will then grow up and have their own choices, can choose something better, choose something that serves them, choose something that allows their character to flourish and integrity to speak for them before they even have to do it for themselves. All right. So it's a lot to unpack, but I think that we all have the tools that we need. If we're stable in our minds and we're focused in our hearts and we're committed to actually helping to build strong adults who will go on and help others, we will understand that it starts at home first. And religion, all religions are a choice. Everybody has to choose what they believe, but you should not get to choose for the people that you are raising. Okay? Let's be open. Let's be real. Let's understand that there's more to this. Okay? All right. So I've enjoyed sharing my 2 cents. Hopefully you all have too. If you have any questions or you feel as if though some things were imposed on you growing up because of beliefs, go ahead and share that in the comment section. Do you wish that you would have had the autonomy to choose what you believed from maybe 16 up? And anything after that should have been forced on you? How do you think that should go? I want to know because it matters more now than ever for the next generation. All right. So see you guys in the next video. Bye.